Hello and welcome to this lecture. Today we are going to discuss introduction to inflammation. We will discuss the definition and different type of inflammation in this topic. So it is defined as the local response of living mammalian tissues to injury from any agent, and that agent could be toxic, could be any chemical, could be a drug. And if we take a look of the causative factors of inflammation, it could be caused because of the bacteria such as E. coli, virus such as coronavirus is one of the example, protozoas, fungus like athlete foot, and then helminths. So there are different causative factors for causing the inflammation. It could be caused because of the antigen antibodies reactions. And what is antigen? Antigen could be any toxic or any toxin, any drug. And if any toxic or chemical they enter into the body, they produce the antibodies, and then antigen antibody reaction occur, and that is another factor for inflammation. The other causative factors for inflammation could be heat induced inflammation. It could be because of the cold, could be because of the radioactive elements such as uranium, or could be caused because of the physical injury, somebody punch you, hurt you by a slap. Then the other causative factors could be caused because of the chemical induced inflammation, uh, because of the presence of any foreign body, maybe any foreign body enter in your ear or any body organ. Then what are the signs of inflammation? There are five main signs of inflammation expressed as redness, swelling, heat, pain, and loss of function. And how can you memorize them? By taking the capital word R for redness, S for swelling, H for heat, P for pain, and L for loss of function. So you can make this abbreviation and make the keywords of your own comfort. These are the five cardinal signs of symptoms that can be expressed in terms of graphical representation, like a pain, feeling the heatness, redness on a certain area, swelling around certain section because of the inflammation, or loss of function if inflammation worse. How many type of inflammation? There are two type of inflammation. One is acute inflammation and second one is chronic inflammation. What is the difference between acute inflammation, or what is the difference between acute and chronic? How can we differentiate acute and chronic? Please write down in the modal in the discussion box. I mentioned here acute is short duration, whereas chronic is long term. Acute represent the early body reaction, means that if somebody hit you or if any insect bite you, the inflammation response that could be occur initially is the acute response, and if it occur with time, then it will be the delay response. Acute will be resolved quickly, followed by the healing process, because inflammation is one of the step of regeneration of the tissues, as we have discussed before as well. So it is very important. Then accumulation of fluid and plasma at affected site, intravascular activation of platelets, polymorphonuclear neutrophils as inflammatory cells will be produced. Whereas in chronic inflammation, the inflammatory cells, lymphocytes will be produced. In chronic inflammation, the main thing is the production of lymphocytes, plasma cells, macrophages, granulation of tissues formation, or in specific situation, granulomatous inflammation. So what happens when the injury occur? The formation of the clot and neutrophils production will be the first stage within 24 hours. And then 3 to 7 stages, the granulation tissues will be formed, macrophages will be formed, production of fibroblasts and new capillaries will be developed, and within week, then fibrosis union occur. So in case of chronic inflammation, There will be production of lymphocytes, macrophages, as this is a picture of the ulcer formation. And in that case there will be formation of macrophages, lymphocytes, then plasma cells, then production of neutrophils and fibroblast. The examples of acute inflammation are acute bronchitis, a sore throat from cold or flu, whereas in chronic inflammation, the examples are asthma, chronic peptic ulcer, tuberculosis, rheumatoid arthritis. These are the examples. What is the function of neutrophils in inflammation? Actually, neutrophils are the initial sign of infection. So, for example, when infection occur, the neutrophils will migrate to the site of infection to kill the microorganisms. So, this is the initial stages. And lymphocytes actually they will be produced as a delayed response, and especially in chronic inflammation. And there are different type of lymphocytes such as T cells and B cells and killer cells, and they are responsible to protect the body, and it is a part of the immune defense to identify antigens and produce antibodies so that destroy the antigens and minimize the effects. Let's discuss one example in inflammation. For example, in tuberculosis, the main thing that will be produced will be the formation of caseous necrosis. And tuberculosis is a disease that caused because of the lung infection, and it because of the mycobacterium tuberculosis bacteria that spread through air, and they can damage the tissue cells, eventually leading to cellular death or caseous necrosis. So this is one of the example of especially granulomatous condition, where the formation of epithelioid cells. If you take a look of the picture, so the formation of epithelial macrophages and caseous necrosis are the example of granulomatous inflammation, especially in tuberculosis caused by mycobacterium. And gross, if we take a look, it look like uh, caseous structure in the lungs. We will discuss in detail in our upcoming lectures. When we take a look on acute inflammation, I discussed that the acute inflammatory response by the host to an agent is a continuous process, and it can be divided into two types. One is vascular event, and the second one is cellular event. When we discuss the vascular event, we will discuss the hemodynamic changes, and we discuss the changes in the vascular permeability. What is meant by hemodynamic changes? We can discuss in terms of the pressure, hydrostatic pressure, or oconotic pressures. And the second thing, when we talk about the changes in vascular permeability, we're talking about vascular leakage. So I mentioned here the hemodynamic changes could be the transient vasoconstriction of the arterioles, persistent progressive vasodilation, are elevated in local hydrostatic pressure, as I mentioned before, are slowing or stasis of microcirculation, are leukocytes migration. And when we take a look on one by one, when we talk about transient vasoconstriction, we have to understand that with the mild form of injury, it takes 3 to 5 seconds to re-establish the blood flow. As we know that blood flow is very important, and if there is no blood flow, then the oxygen supply to the tissues will be not available. So why vasoconstriction occur? It occur because to revive, to protect the tissues for further blood loss. Then the next stage, when we talk about persistent progressive vasodilation, which involves mainly the arterioles, and we have to discuss that vasodilation results in increase of the blood volume in microvascular bed area, which is responsible for redness and warmth at the site of acute inflammation. So why redness? Or if somebody have inflammation on feet or on the toes or around neck. Why that certain area is red and warm is because of the vasodilation effect, and it involves usually the arterioles, and because of the increase of the blood volume in the microvascular bed of the area. Then we talk about local hydrostatic pressure, and if uh, vasodilation occur, what will happen next? Then there will be increase of the local hydrostatic pressure, and result will be the accumulation of the fluid into the extracellular space that is responsible for swelling and inflammation. Then the next one is about the slowing or stasis of microcirculation because of the increased concentration of the red cells. The blood viscosity increases. And why? Because of the slowing of the microcirculation, which causes an increased concentration of the red cells. Then the last one is the leukocyte migration, and it occurs mainly neutrophils. As I discussed before, that when there is an injury, the neutrophils will play an active role uh, and to help to reach to the site of action to kill the microorganisms. So neutrophils have a major role when the injury occur and when any infection occur. So the neutrophils will migrate, and then they try to kill by the process known as phagocytosis. So what happened in the inflammation? We mentioned in terms of the triple response, which can be expressed as red line, flare, or wheel. And you can see this round structure make the wheel-like structure. So they mention wheel. Then they mention red line because the inflammation expressed in terms of straight line. So they express in terms of line, so we mention them as red line. And then they will be the flare formation as well. So this, you can see, this is a red line. On the upper surface there will be the formation of wheel inside, and then there will be the flare formation. And what is flare? It is a bright reddish appearance of the flush surrounding the red line, resulting the vasodilation of the adjacent arterioles. What will be the changes in vascular permeability? This is the picture that can explain to you. The endothelial cell contraction occur in the venules, which occur around 15 to 30 minutes. And the mediators are histamine and bradykinins. And this is the example in terms of mild thermal injury. In case of the sunburn, there will be the contraction or mild endothelial injuries in venules and capillaries. The action is around 4 to 6 hours and prolonged up to 24 hours. And the pathogenesis, the mediators are interleukotrienes and tumor necrotic factors. Then if, for example, somebody has severe burns or bacterial infection or injuries caused by radiation, the cell necrosis will be the pathogenesis with the detachment and occur in arterioles, venules, and capillaries because this is more severe form, and having a direct endothelial injury because of the infection or radiation injury. And it could be days to hours, so we cannot mention that how much days it will take to recover, so it depends upon the exposure that a patient having. Then if somebody have a leukocyte mediated endothelial injuries in the venules and capillaries because of the leukocyte activation in the pulmonary venules or capillaries. Then neovascularization, which could be occur at all levels, and it occur because of the angiogenesis. New vascularization meaning the formation of new blood vessels, and it occurred in the process of angiogenesis in wound healing process or when the tumor grow. So this is the illustration of pathogenesis of increased vascularity, where you can see this gap will be produced because of the contraction of the endothelial cell. This is a stage 1. And then contraction or mild endothelial damage makes more spaces, and that result in leakage. And then the site, or at that site, neutrophils will be moved at the site of injury, and this is a normal endothelial layer, and this is a comparison with the damaged endothelial layer, and then the interstitial edema occur. So that's how the pathogenesis occur in acute inflammation. What will be the cellular events? And the cellular phase of inflammation consists of two processes. One is exudation of leukocytes, and the second thing is phagocytosis. In acute inflammation, what happened that, for example, this is the endothelial cell, and what happened that when any injury occur because of any microorganisms, leukocyte activation occur. Stimulus could be any microorganism that trigger leukocyte activation, and then that also activate endothelial cells. So what happened that these are the neutrophils that is traveling to the site of injury. So they express in terms of the rolling. They roll around the endothelial surface, like you can see this, and they roll on the surface of the endothelial tissues. Then what happened? They started to adhere, stick together. So they stick on the wall of the endothelial cells, and then they, in the later stage, they go for transmigration. It means that they can cross the endothelial cells, and then they migrate to the other part of the tissues. So thank you so much for today's lecture. We will discuss inflammation in detail in system pathology. So this is the journal information that how inflammation occurs. So thank you so much.